Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton. And to my left, he's usually to my right, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
I don't think I like that way you said that.
Yeah, being to
I
my
am
left.
to your right if you go a long distance.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
Yeah. Because
So,
of the way the... Yeah.
you know, all the way around.
That's like geometry and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math.
Yeah, it's like, it's math, basically.
Yeah.
It's geopolitical.
So you got your gun there.
'Cause I'm
So
Republican, so it's geopolitical.
yes.
Right.
So I am curious why you have your gun. And if this is the week where you finally shoot me.
I was thinking of it, because you said you weren't voting for Trump.
Right. Is this why there's no guest? You figure fewer witnesses?
No, we had a guest.
Ah,
I
yes.
found out he wasn't voting for Trump.
I think Ross is voting for Trump.
He is? I
He's-
guess I shouldn't have shot him then.
No? Oh, see? It's too late now. Yeah, he was on my show last night. And yeah, he seems hesitant to commit, but I'm pretty sure he's voting
He
for
should
Trump.
be committed, though. I think Ross should be committed.
Yes.
But no, I was at my wonderful friend Al Baldessaro had a picnic Sunday.
Oh, like with ants and everything?
Nope, there weren't. I didn't see the ants.
Wow, it's not, what kind of picnic
Ants.
is that?
You say ants in New England, or is it ants?
Yeah, an aunt would refer to a your
Because there were aunts.
your
There
parents'
weren't
sibling.
ants.
Your parents' sister would be an aunt, AUNT.
So there were ants eating the food, but there were no ants.
Ah,
eating the
yes.
food. So that's what was yes.
Yeah.
But on the brighter side, at Al Baldessaro's Representative Al Baldessaro's picnic, there were more people there than at a Hillary rally.
Yeah?
Yeah, which doesn't take a lot, but
Yeah, that's true.
oh man, I had to throw that in.
No, so seriously, why'd have your gun?
Oh. Oh, I just want to kill, Matt. It's a Republican thing. You wouldn't understand. You're kind of a moderate.
Yeah, I don't, I'm not really into the killing.
No?
I mean, I'd kill for something really important, like if someone had like a really nice computer or something, I'd kill them.
I
But
didn't tell you.
yeah.
I get a new diet. Guaranteed, this new diet, if you go by it strictly, I guarantee people you lose 30, 50, maybe even 60 pounds in less than 2 months.
Yeah?
Guaranteed.
Yeah?
Guaranteed. No question.
What's the diet?
All panda diet. You can only eat panda.
Yeah? Where do you
that's
get
it.
panda?
That's the problem, Matt.
Ah,
That's
yes.
one of the reasons I can pretty much guarantee if you go to an all panda diet.
yeah.
I don't know what they taste like yet.
Yeah.
You know, I just started about a half hour ago.
What about seals? Can you eat like club
Seals?
seals and eat them?
Baby seals.
Yeah.
Because then
Okay.
you get the fur and you get the meat.
Why would you want the fur? Oh, to wear,
To wear.
not to eat. Right.
You're losing all that weight, you're going to need a nice warm clothes.
Yeah, that's true.
Coat, you know.
That's true.
There's nothing like baby seals to warm the bones.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, baby seals is a good diet, but I'm sticking to the all panda diet
Yes.
because they are a lot cuter. But I guess the baby seals are pretty cute.
Yeah.
Big eyes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Nature. Yeah.
because I think if you eat really cute animals, it reflects in your personality. It kind of brightens you. It helps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I see cute animals on TV.
Right.
Not up close, because I don't go out into the woods. I'm like the least outdoorsy person you'll ever meet.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that's my new idea.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's pretty much a stroke of genius. I think I'm probably gonna write a book,
Yes.
The All Panda Diet by Gary Hopper.
Yes.
How I lost 30 pounds in 30 days or something.
If you really want to make it seem legit, you should call yourself Dr. Gary Hopper.
Yeah, like Dr. Zhivago. He wasn't really a doctor. Was Dr. Zhivago a doctor?
I don't know.
Dr.
But,
Detroit. There was Dr. Detroit.
Right. I'm sure there's some website you can go to buy a doctorate.
Well, what I was thinking and it just doing is changing my name.
Yeah.
In other words, instead of Gary Hopper, just Dr. Hopper. Have my first name changed to Doctor.
Right. There you go.
Because I don't think that's a lot. That's not very expensive to have your name legally changed.
I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of fees.
But that's a lot cheaper than going to college. I mean, college is what, if you go to a good college, $40,000 a year. So
Yeah.
changing your name to Dr. Hopper will be a lot cheaper
Right.
than actually going to college. And the work, because you have to do homework and
Yes.
listen to lectures, and it's like being married.
Right. You have to do homework when you're married?
Yes,
Oh.
and you have to listen to lectures.
You mean like housework?
No, homework.
Actual homework?
You have to try to read them. Like, they don't talk. Women don't really do English or normal conversation. They have, like, body language and everything that you're
Right.
supposed to pay attention to. And
Scowling and whatnot.
the scowling is
Yes.
always a clue.
Yeah.
I've done something wrong again.
Yeah.
You know?
See, that's why I've never been married. I don't want to be scowled at.
Oh, yeah, well, you got to get used to it. Oh, so, anyway, guns. Guns. I get this one that I had last week. That's the LC9. Because I get a friend, I'm meeting with a friend later this afternoon because they're just getting into the shooting sport and they want to know what firearm to have.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, well, this is the LC9. That's actually perfect, a very good concealed handgun.
Yeah.
As you can tell for the audience, this is all clear. There's no bullets right now. It's no better than a club.
Yeah.
But this is for personal protection, mostly for a guy.
Okay.
Because for a guy, it's small enough to fit, in your belt or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Now, this, on the other hand, is also clear. Is a Glock 9mm.
Yeah.
Now, this would actually be a better gun for personal protection, I think, for a woman.
Why?
Well, because this one only carries 7, I think, plus 1 in the chamber, 8 rounds of ammunition. This carries 15. I forgot my numbers. 15 or 17. 15. This is the Glock 19, and it carries 15. It also, because a woman has a purse,
Right.
so you actually have a lot more ability to carry it like this.
Okay.
If I put that in my belt,
Yeah.
it would be wicked easy to see it. Somebody would know I was carrying,
Yeah.
which makes people nervous.
Right.
So anyway, this carries 15 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, so 16 rounds. So it's almost 3 times the capacity as this. It also has a rail. This rail allows you to have a light on the gun.
Yeah.
So now it's not only good for personal protection, but it's really easy to use if you're in a self-defense situation. If you're in a dark alley and somebody's coming at you, illuminating their face
Yeah.
will disorient them because they're being blinded.
Right.
And secondarily, you can clearly identify the target before you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So this one's better for both. If I was a woman, this would be like almost ideal
Yeah.
because the recoil is mild. It takes 15 rounds, so you get a lot more firepower, and it has a tack rail, so you can attach a light to it.
Yeah.
It's just I think, a lot better.
Huh.
This one, there are companies that make a smaller flashlight that fits up, LED flashlight that fits up on the front of this,
Yeah.
but they're only like 100 lumens, whereas this you can get up to almost 800.
Okay.
So this would be okay too.
Yeah.
If they don't like the bulk of this one, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I was going to show that to a friend who's a female friend who's just getting into the shooting sport, and
Yeah.
so they can, and if I have time, take a ride over to if there's time for the gun range, we'll go shooting, and
Right.
she can try them out and see what she thinks.
Yeah.
But that's why I get those.
Oh, okay.
And plus, she said I should lead off with, but wait a minute. Last week you said, because I had this last week, which was Cerakoted over at Wicked Firearms.
Yeah.
You said I should lead off with a gun each week.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
See, I take your suggestions, Matt. I listen.
I remember now. That's right. I suggested that we start every show with you saying before we get started, and you. But I think instead of just I think for effect, instead of just like reaching for the gun and picking it up, you just kind of like lurch for it excitedly, like before we get started, and be lurching for the gun.
I was gonna do that. I was thinking of doing that, and then I said, "Well, wait a second. Matt's been my co-host for 5 years. If I start lurching for guns during the show, I might not have a co-host that long.
Hmm.
Because you seem to have a sense of self-preservation,
I do.
right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to push the envelope,
And I don't carry a gun of my own.
right?
I carry lots of knives, so if I have to, I can stab somebody.
No, you don't.
Because that's fun.
You don't carry knives. You're afraid of them.
Well, I have to be very careful with them, yes, because I'm
Very
very
careful.
clumsy. Which is why no one attacks me, because they know I'm clumsy.
That's
and-
why you should always have one of those. Remember Rambo, the movie? Did you watch that?
You know, I don't know if I've ever actually seen Rambo.
Oh, Rambo, the original. The first one was actually really good.
Really? Yeah.
It was believable.
Yeah? Really?
You know?
Yeah?
It was like Die Hard. The first Die Hard, you could picture yourself in that situation.
Yeah?
You know?
Sure.
After they do the second one, then it gets absurd.
Right, they get campier
They
as
get
they go.
dumber and
Yeah.
dumber. But anyway, the first one, he got cut or something like that. So somebody like you who's clumsy should do what he did.
Yeah?
In the end of it, he had this kind of a survival knife. In the end, he had like a needle and thread, and he sewed himself up.
Yeah.
So you could just like have somebody as clumsy as you should have a needle and thread with you at all times.
Right. But I'm probably too clumsy to use the needle and thread.
Yeah, it probably won't look great
Right.
when you're done.
Right.
Like you might have your finger or thumb stitched up to your arm like this.
If it doesn't look great, I don't want to do it. Style's important, Gary.
Yes, but think how entertaining it would be. So I don't understand. On a more serious note, I don't understand. WikiLeaks came out with a story just prior to the. I mean, I understand, but I think it's unbelievably irresponsible. They came out with that email dump just before the Democratic convention.
Right.
Everybody focused. I mean, they did a really good job. The Democrats do a really good job because by diverting. If
Yeah.
it's a basic move in karate. If I'm going to punch you in the face, okay,
I'm going to lurch for your gun.
you're going to lurch for my gun.
Right.
No.
Oh,
If somebody's going to punch you in the face, the most intelligent reaction to that isn't to try to stop the fist.
right.
Because it's got too much energy.
Yeah. You parry.
You parry. You try to divert that energy away from your face.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. As soon as all that email came out, the first thing they did is they said, well, the Russians did it.
Mm-hmm.
The Russians don't want Hillary, quote unquote, to win.
Yeah.
And then Trump said something. They said, oh, the Russians are in cahoots with Trump.
Right.
And that's what the story became,
Yeah.
which is insane. Because the emails clearly point to the fact that the DNC was in the tank for Hillary Clinton,
Oh, yeah.
and they were going to do whatever they could or needed to do.
Yeah.
And in fact, they had one email where they said, try to nail Sanders down on what his real faith is.
Right.
Because if we can, if he says he's an atheist, that won't play very well.
Would hurt him in the South.
They said
Yeah.
news people said it was anti-Semitic. I don't think so,
No.
because they were trying to find out whether he's an atheist or not.
Right. Right.
If he was an atheist, they knew that would play. He would lose like a few points in the South,
Right.
and it's probably true.
Well, you know what's funny about that is there was a speech that he gave. I think it was Liberty University. It was one of the big Christian universities who invited him to speak. And
Sanders?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This was months ago. This was early in the campaign, and I remember hearing some of it on the radio. It was on NPR. They were playing it, and he says, in early in the speech, he says, obviously there's some things we disagree on, and I think he said that while he's Jewish, of Jewish heritage, he's not particularly a believer himself. So, but it's funny, no matter how many people I've said that to, I seem to be the only one who ever heard that audio. Because
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean,
And you would think that would be front and center.
right.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's my point. Is or what I was trying to get to, is if you go through that story,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest story was the the collaboration between the DNC and the media.
Yeah.
Them sending them stories before they ran with them, things like that. That was a huge story. That should have been like front page news everywhere. That the Democratic National Committee sleeping with the media to make sure Hillary wins.
Mm-hmm.
But that was hardly ever covered.
Well, there was. I mean, it depends on what media you pay attention to. You know, like some of the online media that I look at was definitely covering it. You couldn't avoid it early in the. I mean, by the time they got to day 4 with Hillary's speech and everything, it was pretty much all but forgotten. But early in the convention, you know, the Sanders people were very angry.
Oh,
The
they
delegates
they had,
as
they had a wall outside the convention to keep the Sanders people out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were very, very angry.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like you know the Hillary's whole thing is we can't, you know, they're upset with Trump because he's racist because he's going to build the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's the only foundation they have for their claim that he's racist. Correct?
Well, he's said other weird things. I mean, saying, you know, the undocumented immigrants are rapists, and there's just these little comments that he makes that kind of add up to. Personally, I don't think he is racist, but I don't believe he's really trying to win the presidency either.
I know you don't.
I think he's playing a character,
Yeah,
this sort of exaggerated caricature version of himself.
yeah. I know you've said that, and I just I got my wishful thinking head going on. Yeah, I got all this stuff.
You're all trumped out.
I'm all trumped up.
Yeah.
I got all this stuff from I got the shirt from Tommy Sharps, a friend of mine.
Yep.
And I got the hat at Al Baldessaro's. They had a silent auction
Yeah.
with all kind of Trump memorabilia.
Yeah.
And I bid on a bag with a Trump bumper sticker, hat, and some other stuff. And then I bid on another one. It was a Bikers for Trump.
Oh,
I
okay.
got that too.
Yeah.
So I've been going around just wearing it just to see if I can aggravate people as I'm just walking around.
There's a lot of Trump supporters, but I'll tell you what. I don't know if you've seen this in Utah right now. It's basically a 3-way race between. I guess the Mormons don't like Trump, but it's basically a 3-way race between Trump, Hillary, and Gary Johnson in Utah.
Really?
Oh yeah, and there's also a story
Now,
too.
Utah's usually solid for Republicans too.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's one that Hillary is going to start fighting for if she's in a 3-way race.
Right. She has a chance of picking that up. There's also, I mean, there is a scenario. Well, actually, a couple of scenarios that are
I
interesting.
think that's also more evidence of the fact that the vote for Johnson is a vote for Hillary.
Oh yeah, no, that's one of the reasons I do believe she'll be president. Apparently, too, the Commission on Presidential Debates, they have contingency plans for a third podium at these debates coming up because he's getting closer. They may have to let Gary Johnson in, and there's actually a scenario. I admit it's unlikely, but it is possible. There is a path for Gary Johnson to get to the presidency without winning either the popular vote or the Electoral College. If he can, let's say he gets so much momentum in Utah, he wins Utah, and he wins a couple of other states. And if he gets on that debate stage, this is possible. If he can win enough electoral votes to deprive both Hillary and Trump from getting to 270, thus blocking the Electoral College, then that throws the election to the House, and then you have a Republican-controlled House that may very well decide, if they're so unhappy with Trump, they may decide to vote for Gary Johnson, which would put Gary Johnson in office without winning either the popular vote or the Electoral College. Very unlikely, but it is possible. It could
The
happen.
way this year is going, I will not be shocked if that happens. It is just so bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, see, I kind of get why people don't like Trump. I get it because he does say stuff, and I don't think it's necessarily wise. Like he said yesterday, and I agree with him. I don't actually. The thing is I think one of the things that's going on is they're taking. Like he's doing press conferences, he's doing this, he's speaking, he's going out of his way.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton is not doing any press conferences.
No, she does try. You're right. She tries not to interact with the media.
She avoids interacting with anybody.
Yeah.
she goes around and does her typical stump speech, but that's almost like you could record that and
Sure.
replay it.
Yeah.
Because she's not saying anything especially insightful. She's just repeating what she always says.
Right.
So that's what she's doing. She's staying out of the way, repeating what she's already said, and letting other surrogates come up and attack Trump, so that she's kind of like off on the side.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yeah.
It's effective. But the thing is, because Trump is willing to be out there all the time, they've got X number of hours of him talking
Right.
to separate something out to attack him on. Like, it seems like the media gets really, really upset about something he says once every couple days, and it's the end of the world. And like the thing he said yesterday was, and he was talking about if Hillary gets elected,
Yeah.
she will be appointing the next United States Supreme Court justice.
Right.
If they appoint, and if she is appointing them,
Yeah.
the last major Second Amendment decision was the Heller decision, which was a 5-4, this many and this many, 5-4 decision, saying that you have a personal right to firearms. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if Hillary gets elected and appoints a United States Supreme Court justice, that's going to flip the other way. Okay. So legally, as far as, because more people care about what's legal and what's ethical and what's moral anymore, legally, you will lose your Second Amendment rights if Hillary's elected. So he was, in that context,
Yeah.
he was saying, if she gets elected, you're going to lose your right to bear arms. And then he kind of in passing says, well, unless the pro Second Amendment people have something to say about it. His implication was
He didn't say something to say about it, though.
What did he say
He,
exactly?
I don't remember his exact
Something to
words,
that effect,
but it
but-
was hard not to take it the way everyone took it.
I took it because I've said that. Okay, I have said
You didn't say it as clumsily and offhandedly as he did, I guarantee
probably
you.
not offhandedly, but more direct.
Yeah.
I have said and as long as anybody wants to hear, the reason I ran for office in 2000, one of the primary reasons. Now, keep in mind, my running for office has cost me thousands and thousands of dollars every year, even since I was disabled, because it cost me my part of my disability insurance.
Oh, okay.
I lost. Aetna didn't cover me refused coverage.
Oh, that's right.
Because I'm a state legislator, so therefore I'm capable of earning $22 an hour. Doing what? I don't know. It doesn't matter because the politicians have been sleeping with the insurance company, and they've
Right.
figured out a way to wiggle out of their obligation for long-term disability.
Right.
And that's basically what it amounts to.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But anyway, since I was elected, and the reason I ran is because I saw a trajectory. You saw in the 1993 the assault weapons ban, and they keep going every time some moron does something horrible. Dianne Feinstein and Schumer and the rest of the gaggling crew are all about getting rid of some Second Amendment rights,
Oh, yeah.
whittling away at it every
Yeah.
single time.
Oh, yeah.
And the bills are not even relevant necessarily to the incident that happened. After Sandy Hook, the Democrats were trying to introduce legislation to curb the Second Amendment, and it would not have affected what happened at Sandy
Right.
Hook.
Right.
That's zero. It's zero.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't about what happened. It was about this is an opportunity.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay? So I've seen that trajectory all along.
Yeah.
And my fundamental belief in 2000, the reason I ran for office when there's somebody that was a state representative in Ware, and I said, well, I don't know. I really don't know. At some point, they're going to start coming for people's guns. They absolutely are. I think you're you're naive to believe otherwise. Because that's what they do. Because they're about power. I think you would
sure.
agree. The Democrats are about power, right?
Well, I think both parties are about power.
Yeah, I think I think there are those in the. But I'm talking about in principle. In principle, Republicans are about smaller government.
Somewhat.
That's what their platform
Smaller
says.
than the Democrats.
I am saying that in principle, a Republican
Sure.
who is Republican in belief, not just in name,
Yeah.
would believe in smaller, localized government. Correct?
Probably most, yes.
That's what they should be.
There is such a thing as big government conservatism, but I take
understand-
your point.
I understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand there's people who are part of the party that really don't fall into line with what the party stands for.
Right.
But I'm
right.
saying, in principle,
Yes.
that is the case.
Sure.
Democrats, in principle, would create a massive Goliath. Oh, I already got it. The United States government.
Right.
Because the more control, the better they can do.
Right. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
the last bastion of defense against that is this.
Right.
The Second Amendment.
Right.
That is the last defense. Not freedom of speech, because you've seen what happens to that. Right now, if you look at freedom of speech, the most of your freedom of speech is either in Google, it's on instant message, it's on Facebook, all controlled by corporations. That's not free. You don't have freedom of speech on Facebook. You just think you do.
Right.
They regulate what is or isn't seen all the time.
Sure.
You're
sure.
you're naive if you think your great post that is necessarily getting to anybody of relevance.
Right.
You're typically just preaching to the choir.
Right.
So I've said for a long time I ran for office because I wanted to do my part and try to prevent the perversion of the Second Amendment,
Yeah.
because I knew where we were heading, and we're headed towards a civil war. We are absolutely headed towards a civil war if that happens, because that will be the time when people say, all right, that's it.
Well, that's why I don't believe it'll ever happen.
I do believe it will happen.
I don't think, to be honest with you, like a lot of these Democrats, and I'm not, I'm pro 2A, so I'm not defending them, but I do think that when somebody like Schumer or Feinstein says what they say, do they even really believe any of this, or is this pandering to the base of the party who, for some reason, so many of them are convinced, because it is generally the liberal position that more gun control would keep us safer, which I agree with you. There's no evidence to support that. But, I mean, when Obama gives his speech after, every time there's a mass shooting, and he takes that opportunity, I mean, I don't think he really believes his own BS. I think that's what, if you're a Democrat, that's what you're expected to say. Because they'll run you out of the party if you don't say that, if you don't toe the line.
Yeah, they
Except, I mean, not in New Hampshire. There's a lot of pro-2A Dems here.
Correct.
But nationally, if you want to be a Democrat and successful in Washington, yeah, you got to be on the, let's take everyone guns bandwagon.
Yeah, I know that's the first thing they started attacking Sanders with at the beginning of the election, was his more moderate stance on the Second Amendment.
Right. For example, he voted against, and he's never supported people being able to sue gun manufacturers.
Right.
And he doesn't support. He said if you do that, that'll be the end of the gun industry. But of course, he's from Vermont too. So
yeah,
you're right. Yeah, and they did attack him on that.
But anyway, I disagree with you. I think there's something fundamental about not all Democrats. Okay, I think you have different tiers.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, in both parties. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And at the top tier of the Democratic Party, I believe they want gun control strictly so that they have all the control.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's exactly what it's about. It has nothing to do with people's safety. If they really cared about people's safety, there's all kinds of things they'd be doing, but they're not.
Right.
Including encouraging people to stay married and things like that. They do everything they can to discourage it.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously do not care about the lives of kids dying in Detroit or Chicago or Washington, D.C. That is a way that is like the furthest thing from their mind doing something about that, because that's irrelevant. Because those people are dependent on the government. They're in good. They like that.
Sure.
We're good.
Yeah.
They're all dependent. They hate the Republicans, and they're dependent on the government, we're good with them.
Yeah, you can count on their
You,
vote.
you
yeah.
can count on their vote. They might not go out to vote, but they're not going to go against us.
Right.
Okay?
I think that's true. Yeah.
But they really do want control. Now, there's a lower tier of Democrats who just believe the BS
Right.
and think, they see violence and they say, well, if he didn't have a gun, he couldn't have killed anyone. He would have blown him up.
It's an emotional
It's an emotional reaction.
Yeah.
And on the top tier of the Republican Party, because you got to remember, these are the rich and aimless. Okay, on both parties.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The wealthiest people in the country and the most connected people in the country are in Congress.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the one thing that is an actual threat to that wealth, to that power, is what? Some moron with a gun.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one thing they have no control over.
Sure.
Okay? And they're that arrogant to believe they actually have control.
Yeah. Right.
And so there's that part of them that would really like gun control so that the peons could never rebel.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think on both Republican and Democrat, at the top of the ticket, at the top of the food chain, I should
course,
say, not
yeah.
the ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you have.
Right.
And like you said, at that end of the spectrum, you have Republicans that are just as much about bigger government as some of the Democrats are,
Oh yeah.
because they like that power. All that power goes
Absolutely.
to D.C. That means they can distribute that wealth and that power to their friends, and their friends get richer, they get richer. That's all
yeah.
good. And I believe that's why they're against Trump. Trump does say some outrageous things, but if you look at, like, what's her name from Maine, just says, I can't.
Susan Collins. Yeah.
She's a cotton-picking rhino. She was just looking for an excuse to jump ship.
Well, she is a moderate Democrat.
No,
well, she's retiring anyway.
No, she's a.
I mean, a moderate Republican. I'm sorry, a moderate Republican. The last of a dying breed.
Yeah. Good riddance to bad rubbish. So, did I say that on TV?
Oh. Well,
So
you've said much worse than that. Why
I
do you,
have?
Why do
Really?
you care about that?
I don't really. But anyway, I believe that's why you have these Republicans at the top of the ticket or the top of the food chain who are all upset and aghast at what Trump says. And what he said was logical. It was not. It's constitutional. I mean,
I have a hard time. That one comment, I have a hard time taking
that is
taking that.
That is absolutely 10th Amendment to the New Hampshire
I think-
Constitution, which you've read on the air here
Sure, yeah.
before.
Yeah, I think
It says, what does it say?
Oh God, I don't remember.
It's the
What does it
right
say?
it's the right of revolution.
Okay.
Whenever the government, I don't know why it's dinging. I don't have internet connection.
Yeah, it's closed. I don't know why it would make that noise. That's funny.
It's reminding me this there. We're pretty fond of one another.
Yeah.
The right of revolution
Yeah.
is it's in the 10th Amendment of the New Hampshire Constitution, and it in short says, whenever the ends of government get too off the rails, you not only have a right to revolt, you have an obligation to revolt.
But you do understand why people took what he said as him making a joke about shooting Hillary,
No,
right?
Really? I did not see it that way. I didn't even see it close to that way.
Really?
No, I saw it as a direct reference to the fact that if you elect Hillary and you end up subverting the Second Amendment, there are a lot of people who are in the Second Amendment movement who will not go down lightly. When they come for their guns, it's not going to be pretty. There's going to be it's going to be horrible.
Don't you think, though, if he really wanted to be president, don't you think he would make a little bit more of an effort to be more clear when he says these things? Because it's killing him in the polls. He is tanking.
It's killing him in the polls because the media does whatever they can with whatever he says to try to nail him.
But it's so easy because he says.
I know. I
things
didn't say it. I didn't say he wasn't making it easy for him.
I mean,
which
why?
I think he is. But I think
I think he loves it. I think he's a showman, and I think he's having fun. And I don't think this guy wants to govern.
I don't know. I think it's just this. I'm going to go with my belief. Hey,
No, I know. I have the minority opinion on this, although in growing numbers, people are starting to wonder. Because my biggest point about Trump has always been there's this other version of the guy we all used to know and like. He could just go back to being that guy. And if he was that likable, reasonable sounding Trump, he could crush Hillary Clinton in the general election. Instead, he's this caricature of himself. Like, why be this over the top version of himself if he really wants to win?
Yeah, I don't know.
The old Trump was very likable. He was the reality TV star. He was, he hosted at SNL. He did it recently, but he also back in 2006, everyone loved it. He was this really likable sort of mainstream celebrity. And now he's...
Have you listened to his speeches, though?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I watched his I watched his speech at the Republican convention. I thought it was great, by the way, how he, like, everything he says, he punctuates with his arm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of his speeches, he's not even... I guess now he's making more of an effort to read, but usually he's just talking off the cuff.
Well, I think that's part of the issue. I think he does speak off the cuff.
Yeah.
And because he speaks off the cuff, it's, well, all right. Remember a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about that news reporter that...
what his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was Donald Trump,
Yeah.
that would have been front page news.
Oh, I don't know. That's just mispronouncing somebody's name. That's not a big deal.
But they would have taken that. They would have taken me to the cleaners on it. I'm just saying that I think he's still speaking off the cuff.
Yeah.
And when I listen to his speeches, I just think he's just saying what he's thinking about.
But
I don't take it as being all that.
But he's careless. Like, do you want someone that careless with his words as commander in chief?
I don't think he will be. Because once he's no, I don't believe so. I think once he's president, it'll be more like a businessman, and as a businessman, Trump, he's going to be a lot more like he was in those interviews. Because remember, in those interviews, he was strictly a businessman, and he had to be careful about what he says because it reflected directly on his business. Mm-hmm. Now he put the business aside and he's running for president. So there's a different attitude, and I think once he sits in the Oval Office, he's going to have to think about, like he's rebuilding the country. He will tend to calm down and start looking at it that way. He's not going to just make off the wall.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. Oh, once he's in there, he'll be totally mature.
I don't know about totally mature. I don't even think I want him to be totally mature. I would rather have a president that was out there fighting for what he believed instead of just sitting back and playing golf.
Right. I think he'll outsource whatever he can. I think
I think he's going to outsource a lot.
Yeah.
Because
I think we'll basically have President Mike Pence.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. I think he is going to outsource some stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. That's what his business is. He doesn't build all those buildings.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Hey, what's the deal with the guy climbing up the side of the tower?
Did this happen today? I missed
this.
It's
happening today.
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody climbing up the side of Trump Tower
right now.
Oh, it's happening right now, says Paulie C. Oh, I don't know about this. Why is he climbing Trump Tower?
Paulie C, the name of a god? I never heard that. I heard Paulie.
He's a rapper, and now he works here.
Oh, I didn't know
Paulie
that.
C.
Yo.
Yeah, see.
So anyway, here, this is. I look for cues. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think when in 2008, when Barack Obama was running,
mm-hmm.
and he was talking about the people in Pennsylvania. I don't recall if he was actually in Pennsylvania, and he referred to those people who cling to their religion and their guns.
Right, that was a recording from a campaign staff meeting that he had. Yeah.
Right. I believe that told you everything you needed to know about Barack Obama. Entirely. Because he's saying in that one statement, they cling to their religion and their guns. Mm-hmm. By saying that, he is definitely saying that he doesn't really understand the Second Amendment. And secondly, he doesn't understand religion itself.
Well, you've brought this up before. I think that, I mean, that was, to me, I think you're reading too much into it, because that was a comment that he made in a meeting with his staff, talking political strategy, that someone recorded. Now, I mean, as far as the religion, personally, my theory has always been I think he's an atheist.
Yeah, that's right. That's why that statement is relevant.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't say they're clinging. You would not, if somebody of faith would not refer to somebody else in faith as clinging to.
In a conversation about political strategy and how to appeal to specific electoral demographics, I'm not so sure.
I don't think you'd use those words.
I don't know.
And he clinging
Maybe.
to
Maybe not.
clinging to their religion and their guns.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, he's not really, he doesn't understand faith in God, period, and he certainly doesn't understand the Second Amendment.
Right.
So Hillary,
Well, we knew that anyway.
Hillary Rodham Clinton said about Trump's speech, I think in reference to Trump's speech, if Republicans put so much faith in the hand of God, why do they need guns?
It's
I think it's similar. I don't think it's the same.
That's a pretty obtuse comment on her part, yeah. And this is something she said publicly?
That was on Twitter. Which one with Bird?
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, Twitter, on our Twitter account.
Well, they're both terrible candidates, Gary. That's why we should support Gary Johnson.
What about Gary Hawker?
We support him, too.
Okay.
I'd vote for you if I lived in Ware.
Thanks, man. Gotta get your absentee ballot.
Nice.
So, yeah. I gotta give him a lot of those out. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
That'd be wicked funny. But anyway, that was my comment on that, is because when she said, if Republicans put so much faith in the hand of God, why do they need guns? To me, she's kind of mocking God and the Second Amendment all at the same time.
Yeah, I just take it more as, wow, that's a weird comment. That's why she doesn't talk to the media, because she can't control what she says.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she spoke out as much as Trump does. They'd both be losing in the polls.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? This is a weird comment. I've got this guy who's I don't know why he still hangs on as one of my friends. I don't really delete unless somebody gets really abusive or rude.
Yeah.
I tend not to delete them as friends. I think I've deleted 2 people.
Yeah.
One was Kyle
Tasker? Yeah.
And I don't know how many years I've been on Facebook, but I think it's 2 people. Kyle Tasker is one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy, his name's Robert Williams, Bob. What do you say? He keeps referring to me, says, sorry, I don't feel supreme to any... This is in response to my comment about Hillary's comment.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't feel supreme to anyone, and her supporters seem a great deal more diverse. Then he says, before that, he says, I don't carry a gun. I do pray. I do not mistrust most of my fellow Americans, though I wonder at the values of Trump supremacist supporters. So he keeps calling me and other people like supremacists and things like that.
Well, I don't think he necessarily thinks that all Trump supporters are supremacists.
I think you'd stop right there. But he does. He often refers to us as like, racist and everything else, and I don't know where that even comes from. I don't get it. Well, I understand, like you said, he said about the many of the illegal immigrants are coming over. There's
He said they're rapists.
Yeah, I mean, I believe there is a high crime rate amongst people that are coming over.
I don't think that holds up statistically, but I don't have the numbers in front of me.
I don't know. I know that I've seen some of the statistics, and it's pretty bad. But typically, and this goes back to my long-running argument, typically, see, we have actually a really cool thing going on in the United States that's not happening in Europe. In Europe, you have this massive immigration, I think, caused in a great deal part by Hillary Clinton.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Well, let's see. Remember her cackling and laughing because she killed Gaddafi?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
that
do
was.
remember that?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Very strange moment. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't. I think it's characteristic. I just think it's the Hillary we don't really see very often,
Yeah.
and why she doesn't do interviews.
Maybe. Yeah.
She was the one who spearheaded the destabilization of Libya. You would agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. She and Obama funneled arms into Syria and tried to help destabilize Syria. Would you agree with that?
I'd have to look at that more. I've heard that.
I
yeah.
believe that's the case. If
Okay.
you look,
I don't disbelieve it.
okay. So she and Obama, she was Secretary of State. From my understanding, it was against military intelligence. Military intelligence or the CIA said, don't do this. Because if you destabilize... Because Libya, Gaddafi was actually helping us.
Yeah, he had kind of chilled
He
out
had kind
over
of
the
chilled
decades.
out after Reagan
Bombed him. Yeah.
bombed the crap out of his palace.
Yeah.
He saw the light. So he had actually been helpful, and he had a stable government.
Yeah.
We had a reasonably stable government in Iraq. So Obama took troops out of Iraq, which destabilized Iraq. They destabilized. Yeah.
I think that was inevitable.
No, I don't believe so. We had troops and McCain, who I'm not crazy about, and others told him, if you pull all those troops out just to meet some promise you made to the voters.
Well, he did have to pull troops out because of that status of forces agreement expiring, which W had negotiated.
I realize that, but
Yeah.
you can renegotiate things. We're in a position of power, not the Iraqis.
Yeah.
All the military, from my understanding, told him, if you pull out, you're going to create a power vacuum. This is not a wise thing to do. So that got destabilized. Whether you agree with why he did it or not, that's the result.
Yeah.
Definitely destabilized Libya. Assisted or didn't assist, in either way, helped destabilize Egypt. Muslim Brotherhood came in. Now, keep in mind, back when Benghazi hit, I had heard the stories that the reason that Annex was hit in Libya was because they had all the evidence of the gun running to the Syrian rebels. And that's why that got wiped out and burnt down.
Okay.
And that was deliberate. And that's why they didn't send in reinforcements. Obviously I can't know that's true,
Yeah, yeah.
but it fits the
Sure,
pattern.
it's believable. Yeah.
It's believable. So she's destabilized the Middle East. She and Obama almost single-handedly have destabilized the Middle East so profoundly that people felt the need to get the hell out of there. I mean, there are people that are taking boats from Libya across and dying on the way to Europe.
I would say this. I don't want to defend them because there's plenty of things about the Obama foreign policy I don't like. But I wouldn't put it all on them as saying, I guess I wouldn't say they destabilized the Middle East. I certainly think there were other things happening in terms of the Arab Spring. In other words, I wouldn't say they caused the Arab Spring. Now, I might critique their handling of it, as you would. So I'll agree with you somewhat there, but I wouldn't blame them for it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will. So, anyway, so you have this massive immigration into Europe.
Yeah.
The bigger problem is you've got a Muslim immigration into a Christian, pseudo-Christian, not really that Christian. Europe isn't all that Christian.
Right.
They're more, New England makes Europe look religious.
Sure.
So you've got this huge culture clash,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And you have Brigitte Bardot was actually the one who was protesting in France for many years about the immigration of Muslims into France and claiming that it was going to destroy the country. She kept getting arrested. If you look at how many times she's gotten arrested over the last 20 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Brigitte Bardot, the actress?
Correct.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that. Huh.
And but anyway, but the thing is, you have this huge culture problem.
Yeah.
because they go in there and they're not used to the culture. They're wearing burqas and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
and they're forcibly isolating themselves. Okay, and they have like enclaves or areas that even the cops don't go supposedly, and that's horrible because that's basically a country within a country. It's not.
Right.
They're not going over there to get rich or to take part in the culture that's there that they want a part of. They're
Right.
going there in effect to take over, whether deliberately or passively. It's still the same effect.
Well, to take over or to escape what they're trying to get away from.
Well, let me put it this way. Do you remember?
I mean, I wouldn't paint with too broad a brush, is what I'm. I guess I'm saying.
Yes, but I can. So I got bigger brushes. So, do you remember what happened in Jordan? And I think it was after the '68 war. I could be wrong about which war. There's been a few of them.
No, I don't.
Okay, so Jordan, Syria, Egypt. I think that's the three. I'm not positive. Attacked Israel.
Okay.
Okay, Israel fought and kicked their butts.
Yeah.
All right, pushed the Palestinians back and everything else. The king of Jordan told the Palestinians they could stay there. They did.
Yeah.
Palestinians says, hey, guess what? We outnumber the Jordanians. You know what they did?
Took over.
They tried to take over.
Yeah.
The king of Jordan was actually out like in his Jeep just buzzing around. All of a sudden, shots start whizzing by.
Oh,
He
really?
goes, holy crap. And he ended up having to basically force them back out of the country,
Yeah.
Well, if you've got a situation where you've got a culture that's going in and multiplying at a greater rate, because you know that in the United States our reproductive rate is really low, and it's the same. It's actually worse than Europe, in Europe and France in particular.
Yeah.
And I forget what year it is, but by the year, say 2040 or 30, I remember hearing the numbers. The Muslims will outnumber the French.
Oh, okay.
So, what country is it going to be?
Right.
It's going to be Muslim. It's going to be a Muslim. It'll become a theocratic or a Muslim country, not a secular country.
Right.
And it will happen. Wow, that went quick.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we have in with the people from Mexico coming over. They're all Catholic.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's true. They tend
So
to be.
culturally, there really is no big difference. I mean,
Yeah.
and the families come over, and I know the Democrats are going to get upset when they find out, but after a couple generations,
Yeah.
they realize that their values and everything else are more reflected in Republicans than they are Democrats.
Yeah, they're socially conservative.
Socially, they're very actually,
Yeah.
blacks are socially very conservative.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just haven't woken up to the idea that the Democrats aren't. But we only got 3 minutes. I got to put my gun away before.
Oh yes. We don't want to scare the folks after us.
Yes.
All right, so we'll wrap up with that.
Yeah. So anyway, just so you know, Ross Terrio was supposed to be here, but he had school board.
School board meeting. I
He had a
guess that's
school
important.
board meeting.
Well,
So because of his other responsibility, he chose to ditch us.
yeah.
So, but anyway, we still love him. Good luck, Ross.
Yes.
Who do I get next week? Do you remember? I
I-
think I have. Well, let's see. Wait,
Did you
wait.
reschedule Joe? Joe Kelly Lavasser?
No,
Oh.
no. It's not going to work out.
Oh, okay.
Wait a second. Okay,
I know he's a busy man.
me too. I'm busy, so busy. Let's see. I actually put it in my. I got a calendar now
Oh, good.
on this new
Look at you.
contraption. So, oh yeah, next week is Jim Adams, who's running for executive council.
Is he? I don't know. I don't know
know.
Jim Adams. I'm not familiar with this man.
Yeah, I think we've had him on the show before.
Really?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
Huh.
So Jim Adams is next week. Kim Warren's the week after. Emily Sandblade's the week after that. Then
Well, you're booked several weeks ahead. Wow.
then
Yes.
my buddy, just the week before election, Jim Lawrence is coming on,
Okay.
and he is. You guys are gonna love Jim Lawrence. He is awesome. See you
Okay.
next week.
Bye, everybody.